Stephen Browning.
I rise to speak to the Fisheries, Foreign Charter Vessels and Other Matters Amendment Bill. Mr Speaker, it seems ironic that as I rise to speak to this bill tonight, in Nelson the annual Roger Awards are being announced. And many of people here will know what the Roger Awards are about. They're about the worst transnational corporation operating in Aotearoa, New Zealand in any particular year. They're always looking at the year back. But the reason why it's so ironic was that last year the winner of the 2012 Roger Award was Tandem Fisheries Company Limited was the winner of it. The foreign chartered vessels operated through United Fisheries, and that was incredibly well scrutinised. They were up against all sorts of multinationals that have done all sorts of atrocious things, either wages and conditions or pressure on the government or a range of things. So we had Rio Tinto, Tinto Alcan, we had King Salmon, the Marlborough Sounds, but the winner in this one was Tandem Fisheries. The analysis went right down through the history, and we've seen a lot of the history come through the submissions to the Select Committee as well. But as successive governments over a very long time had been turning their eyes, turning their back on these people, on the abuses. But at the same time, we were devaluing New Zealand's worth. We were devaluing our brand for sure, and that is what has been the turning point, I think, in this whole debacle. But we're devaluing the actual value of our resource, the fisheries stock. Every time we sell that cheap, every time we cut corners to get it at a cheap price, we are lowering the price. We're going down to the worst commodity price possible. I noticed that, we started in the 90s with this and it carried on for some time. We now have deteriorating fish stocks ever since we got foreign chartered vessels in to help plunder the total allowable catch. And we've had problems with the estimation of biomass, but we still go out there and using dirt cheap labour, putting New Zealanders out of work, New Zealand fishing companies out of work, all the time. Successive governments were looking the other way. So we're very pleased that the government has done a backtrack and recanted on its giving exemptions to either its friends or to anyone to allow this sort of practice to carry on. We fought against it, and I think of the Green Party minority report in the bill that talked specifically about the tuna exemption, because we weren't able to do much about the other main exemption because it was dropped on the Select Committee at the very last moment. So we're very pleased the Minister has seen his way through to remove these exemptions. I'm disappointed we don't actually have the SOP that will in front of us so that we can actually see that in print. We're talking about something we're waiting to see, but we can do that with a lot of confidence, I think. The Green Party will do another SOP, and that will be to reduce the time so that it's not 1st of May 2016 when finally we put this dirty piece of fisheries history behind us. We will be looking for that to happen next year in 2015. See, David Cunliffe, as I think Minister of Labour at the time, worked with industry to get a code of practice. He quoted it as mandatory, but of course and worked deeply with them, acknowledging that there was an issue at the time, but then it seems everybody ignored that. Keep looking the other way until there were deaths, until overseas, where in our markets, where we got the turnaround, where we actually started to squirm and change. And that is so typical of things that go through this place, that go through the ministries. Only when forced, only when it's a trade issue, when we may actually lose some sales, do we start to honour human rights and the respect that we should be giving to everybody, whether they come from Indonesia or New Zealand. So we're disappointed that this has taken so long, but still grateful. Where is the vision? But say, where is the vision for New Zealand? Where is the vision for fisheries in New Zealand? The vision, we think, should be that all parts of all fish, all caught fish are used, and all ships, all boats are crewed by New Zealanders. We still have significant unemployment, and it is disappointing that some people that sought exemptions have great unemployment within their own ranks. And so it'll be good that these exemptions are removed and the tension moves back towards some New Zealand improvement in New Zealand staffing. It was very interesting to see the level of submissions that came in. It was good to see academics from the University of Auckland, and they were mentioned before, Christina Stringer and Glenn Simmons and others, that put forward their papers about the forced labour in the New Zealand fishing industry. The sinking of the Oyang 70 on the 18th of August 2010, they reported on with the loss of 6 lives. And they went and they delved and dug and looked and talked to interviewed Indonesian, Burmese, Chinese, Korean and other key informants from around the world. And they put that effort in. They put the effort in more than the fishing companies represented still, unfortunately, in this House, who chose not to, who chose to leave it over to different people that would employ these people, that would force them or coerce them, cajole them into contracts they did not even understand, and then get out in the seas and get abused in all sorts of ways, and then even have their money so restricted that they couldn't pay back the sort of fees that they had paid just to get the job that they were promised to be so good. So the University of Auckland and others, the various agencies that are concerned with the welfare of people in New Zealand, that joined in and helped bring this to this position, we need to acknowledge and be very grateful. We'll be speaking more of this, and thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I call Colin King.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to take the call during the second reading of the Fisheries, Foreign Charter Vessels and Other Matters Amendment Bill. And